release the song. If you went 100% at it, you're going to be like, okay, cool. Like I put in my best effort. Like I did this, like I can fix this, this, and this. And you're going to go again and you're just going to keep improving. But if you're scared and going 50% at that moment because you're scared, that's when you're going to get the outcome that you don't want. We also, okay, so you mentioned something that sparked my memory. I think you're going to be fascinated by this. We have talked about this on another podcast, but being a skier, you obviously understand the flow state of skiing, right? Like you're just totally in the zone, you're not thinking about it, and you're just crushing it down the hill. When you're trying to get into flow state working on music, it is a similar feeling. But what you don't realize is that when you're skiing and you're in flow state, there is a consequence of like injury, or like there's a risk involved, right? For you to break your attention, to lose that flow state has a consequence, a risk involved of potential injury. When you're in front of your computer, the consequence for letting yourself break out of flow state, for letting your guard down for your attention is so low that we allow our notifications to be on and we allow our phone to be on and
while it seems low.
Right, while it seems low.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's the same concept, but one of the things that fascinated me was it's easier to stay in flow state doing a sport, but making music, it feels like you go up and down so much. And I think it was Tesko that pointed out it's because you're the risk of breaking your attention is so low. So kind of taking that a step further and applying that, it's like you need to think about the risk of distraction while making music as high as doing a sport that demands 100% of your focus.
Part of what I wonder is how much of that has to do with like recognizing your own mortality. And maybe that sport analogy ties into like, oh, if I can break my arm, I can snap my neck and die type thing. And having a good relationship with death, I'd say, is very crucial to giving you that hustle. Like when people ask, like, how do I find the motivation or how do I do this? I think the reason why music's easier to blow off, obviously you're not going to break your arm or anything, but you're also not consciously thinking, especially if you're not comfortable with the idea of death, that I am slowly dying as I procrastinate right here. And so I think sports just draws that more to the forefront, possibly. Like as you were talking about that, I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on that? I feel like it is sort of ties into your mortality.
No, Seancy, what do you think about the slow march to death?
I think I'm super glad you said that, because lately in the last few years, I'm totally about kind of not only accepting, but like taking a close look at what your death is, because it's like the most deep meditation you can have is the meditation on death, because that's the one part of the experience that is all coming to us that we don't know what's going to happen, and it's unavoidable. And it can be used as an ally to really, like you were saying, motivate you to just accomplish whatever you want and push yourself beyond any limitations you thought you had. So bringing that into this conversation of like in the music production, I think that it's tough. It's a great reminder if you have a practice with that to remember why you're doing stuff and why you get into the flow state. Like the whole, Dylan talks about Wu Wei, like no mind, no hesitation, because that therein lies like the beauty of the creation of like being in that flow state. And I appreciate it so much. I try to get the phone away from me, the distractions away. I think that's why like we probably all at some, at points we're making tons of music late at night because there was literally no distractions, nothing but this focus. And it's literally like a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And that focus is like, that's kind of the beautiful thing, because, the decision making and other stuff kind of just dissipates into just a movement of like sculpting something until it's finished.
100%. Yeah,
That's interesting.
It's
You
like,
right? Sorry, go Evan.
I was just gonna add that it's like a very powerful motivator if you can optimistically apply that to your daily life, right? And it's like the eternal recurrence thing that Dylan has talked about.
Ooh.
You had to watch your life over like a movie infinite amount of times after you've passed. Would you still be sitting there on the couch eating chips thinking that you should get in the DAW and then I don't need to right now? Like how much would it hurt you to watch yourself do that in third person forever? Ouch, dude.
Damn.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a rough. I think, man, I think it's super beneficial just to think about that. Us just coming back to what you're talking about with sports. I think that like those sports or other activities that have an inherent risk of like a negative outcome just already have that. Like a negative outcome is a smaller like fractal of what death is, like the ultimate, negative outcome for an experience. Whereas with like music and other like decisions in life that got people sitting on couches or whatever they're doing, the small decisions, you don't see the negative side of it, because with music it's like, oh, I can finish the song whenever, or I can make another song if that one's not good. It's not like you get harmed from having a bad outcome. But I think when you start to focus on, okay, death, limited amount of time, the actual resource we actually have, time and energy, and you realize, okay, no, maybe I should actually like choose wisely with discipline where I'm going to put my time and energy so that I can get the best positive outcome, or for me that would be the best experience, which might not be creating the best music but having the best time creating music or something like that.
And I think as a skier you would also relate to this parallel that you just made me think of. So like as a producer, the part that you are scared is when you put the music into the world. There is a risk of negative outcome. There's a risk of people saying this sucks. It's the same as when you go to do that cliff drop on your skis, you're like, man, I could really fuck myself up. But if you've done the training, you've done the practice, you know that you have the skill to do it. If you just make that leap, 9 times out of 10, if you've committed to it, you're going to be completely fine. In skiing, mountain biking, snowmobiling, dirt biking, I don't care what sport it is, the only thing that you can really fuck up bad is going 50%. If you hit that jump and you go 50%, you are going to hurt yourself. If you go 100%, go a little bit long, kind of skid out into the bushes, you're fine. The times that you really get hurt is when you half-ass it. And so it's like a big lesson in, when you're scared, it's important to make sure that you're going 100% at that thing, knowing and having the confidence of the effort and work that you put in to get to that point. And then that is when you really get that like intrinsically motivating response of knowing you put the work in, succeeding, or even like another parallel, like you crashed on the jump, but you're no longer scared of it, that feeling like you sent it, you didn't land it, but you're no longer scared of doing the drop. So you hike back up and do it again. And you land it that time because you weren't scared. You were just focused on like, how do I do this right? It's the same thing with music. Release the song. If you went 100% at it, you're going to be like, okay, cool. Like I put in my best effort. Like I did this, like I can fix this, this, and this. And you're going to go again and you're just going to keep improving. But if you're scared and going 50% at that moment because you're scared, that's when you're going to get the outcome that you don't want.
Yeah, that reminds me, I don't know if you guys listen to like Gary Vee, or like there's plenty of motivational speakers, people that talk about failure, just how failure is again, failure is kind of like we were talking about death here. Failure is also your ally. It's like the best thing that can happen to you. It just doesn't seem like it. It kind of sucks at the time. Like, damn it, this didn't go how I wanted. But if you take it and you're like, gather all the information I got from this, like you said with the jump, okay, like, oh, I know how to hit this now. I can make this. I can land this. I'm going back up. I'm going for it. And then just in everything you do, if you're just like, I'm going for it, like there's no option B, just going to go for this.
Yeah.
It's happening. You know, if I fail, like I know that I can handle what's going to happen in the failure. But not only that, I'll probably gain stuff gain a bunch of insight that I didn't have before in order to like actually progress in a way that's very like a very good evolution.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I like it.
What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thank you so much for watching our videos. We appreciate you. Remember to like and subscribe to our channels. And if you have any questions or topics that we need to cover on the show, put them in the comments. Appreciate you. Peace and peace among worlds.